What is going on, guys? How are you? Appreciate everybody coming in early there. Keys, Tater Tot, Hot Boy D, Rajman Flim Flam, Isaac Smith. Glad you're not working. Can finally catch one. Can you guys hear any volume? Can you hear me okay? Everything good? Give everybody a few minutes to get in here. If you guys, anybody didn't go back and watch that All-Pro Football video I just put up. If not, it's critically important to what we're about to see. Yeah, the XFL teams got released today. I already pre-ordered my tickets for the DC team. They're actually also following me on Twitter. They're the DC Defenders. So I thought it was pretty cool. They followed me right away. I know. I'm glad you can make it out Stud for President 2. I'm amazed somebody had Stud for President 1 as a username. What's going on, Kerblang King? YouTube user's a great username, actually. The Dallas Renegades. I thought the logos were a little weird. I thought it was super PC how they came out, too. They were like, these team names don't represent anything but fun and football. Like, what are you talking about? Nobody's trying to hear that. I don't even know what that meant. Oliver Luck up there all formal. He's like, don't be reading into these team names now. It's just fun and football. Go pay that $50. He didn't even, you know what's funny though? They didn't even push it. They weren't like, hey, go put that $50 down on them season tickets real quick. They didn't even got no merch up. They have no merch, and they don't even promote that they're selling their season tickets. That's the most XFL thing ever. I'd had everything ready to go. I probably would have spent a couple $100 today on gear for no reason. I would have just been like, you know what? Let me get a T-shirt. Let me get a T-shirt and a sticker. No, that's the deposit, Tater Tot. I don't know what the season tickets are going to cost. They were like, how about we hold this $50 real quick? We'll let you know how much it's going to cost for real. Oh, slam my microphone. They're probably going to be like, listen, that $50 is going to get you tax. We'll see you on that $1,000. But we'll see what happens. I'm just trying. I don't even know where they're going to play yet either. What's going on, Avery? What they need to do, they needed to get a team in Philadelphia and play over at that what is it, PFL Field or whatever, man? They got that one field right before the bridge where the Philadelphia, whatever their soccer team plays. That stadium's crazy. It's a beautiful stadium. It's really like not in a great area, but it's a beautiful stadium. You can't donate to IMV no more because they got their funding, man. I can't see the title. What's today's title? The Union, yes, the Union. Wherever the Union play, that stadium is beautiful. I don't like soccer. I just know that stadium, man. I used to have to work down there. I'm doing good, Cow Milk 22XD. How are you doing? Pass blocking after this patch is incredible. I'm very excited for the XFL, Brian. I just like more options. I'll tell you right now, this is how I described it. Yeah, right. I think it is right before the Walt Whitman. This is how I described it today. If the Colts were to leave the NFL, I would not be an NFL fan. So, probably 15 years ago, I mean, I probably would have watched the NFL if the Colts left and still been a Colts fan. But I can say with ultimate confidence that if the Colts somehow left the NFL, I wouldn't watch the NFL no more. I know a lot about Maximum Football. I just can't say it. If you guys haven't seen the trailer, I believe the trailer is going to come out on Friday, I believe. I'll have a little preview for you. Don't worry. The XFL is the football league that Vince McMahon owns. I wouldn't say tomorrow, Todd. I would say Friday, if I had to give a date. What if the Colts relocated? As long as they come back to Baltimore, I don't care. We'll trade them. Even up. Ravens for Colts. The pass blocking is amazing. Well, we're about to talk about the pass blocking. I'll give you guys a couple more minutes to let people come in here. What are we at? 75? Man, like I said yesterday, way too many people putting cart before the horse with this, 2K XFL stuff. League has to be financially stable first, period. We just went through it. We just went through this with the Axis and the AAF. Anyway, once Maximum Football comes out, you can make the XFL teams if you really wanted to. I believe local multiplayer, yes, but not online for Maximum. The same way it is now. I don't know why they patch this game so much. I wish I could delete this patch live and show you guys the difference in the games. What's up, Mike Stacks? Go 2 more minutes. They've shown gameplay, OCU Rocks. As I said yesterday, aside from a console generation, probably the biggest gameplay improvement I've seen in a game. There's still some issues that need to be resolved, but definitely a massive improvement from last year. Thank you, Mike. And I always try to wait to get 100 people in here. And I'm going to start with like 97. What's going on, Cole? Rank Madden 20 on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm not a game ranker, man. I'm really not. People look for me to do reviews and things, and I just don't do that. I review a game throughout the year as opposed to one score. You really can't sum up a game in a single score. Hello, ZEZ. Hello, Alexander Jackson. We're losing people, but we're gaining people. Don't make no sense. What's going on, Cut Dog Slim? All right, 1 more minute. People probably left because they got tired of hearing me talk. Favorite Madden of all time? 05, 25. What's up, GC? Fam, we got 95 in here now, fam. Man, I can't. I don't know. I don't know about much about basketball. I know people ask me all the time to do NBA breakdowns. You guys go look at Gideon Prime for that stuff, though. He does a great job. All right, I'm about to set my phone down. So, anybody that I miss, there we go, 100. Look, we did it. I feel a lot more comfortable now. So, anybody I miss saying hi to, I'm sorry. We're just gonna. Jeez, rest in peace to your speakers. Good God, I just smashed the microphone with my controller. All right, so. We're going to take a look at this. Couple things here. This is the new pass blocking feature. Crazy why they did this, man. If anybody watched the 2K video I just did, I literally focused on single animations and smoothness, right? So look at Madden. Just at speed up here. It is absolute chaos. To me, when I think about a war in the trenches, I think about, like a physical battle between two players. I do not think about constant shifting between 5. So number 61, I just want you to understand what his assignments change here. He comes off. He doesn't actually have someone to block. So they let 64 take care of the tackle. Then he drops back. Now he has both players in front of him with number 77. He sticks number 90. He's really the only one that gets a block for a majority of the play when he didn't have an assignment. Number 64 is just a disaster. He comes off. He gets that initial block. He literally runs in a circle. He runs in a circle and he tries to get Wake. Or no, I'm sorry, that's the corner. What logic is this? And why is it happening? Meanwhile, the double team block over here, it's just sliding and warping and shifting. There's no way that as a player you can look at this and read this pressure and say, yes, the pocket is collapsing and I need to move. I'm just going to show you from the quarterback's perspective here. I'm even going to slow it down so you can try to read it. It looks like right now there's pressure coming up the middle because of the position of that lineman, but that's not where the pressure is going to come from. It's actually going to come from the side, and he's going to run past the backs of every lineman to bring pressure to me. Meanwhile, these two linebackers, like we talked about before, this one, I believe, may be spying the quarterback based on his movement at the end here, but still, way too much standing still. To go back and talk about the coverage here, I mean, I'm going to back out and show you the ratings, but this is what I would consider press coverage. Even though there's no jam, never touches him. We're going to take a hard look at these ratings, and we're going to assess this coverage. Because to me, I realize some people will argue, NFL open, this is open in the NFL. At the 15, NFL open or not, he's right there stride for stride as soon as the break happens. He's got a little bit of a head start, obviously. But that's 10 yards, that's a tenth of the field, and he basically has him in stride. When Brown makes the cut, there's a little bit of separation, but look at how fast he's able to strafe. Even though the quarterback's going down, he's literally strafing at the same speed. So let's just talk about I don't want to talk about anything like route running, awareness. I just want to talk about two physical people. The most core way to look at it. Somebody's going to have to write this down for me in the chat. Antonio Brown is 181 pounds. He has 92 speed. He has 93 acceleration. Let's take a look at this linebacker. He is 6'2", 252 pounds. He has 84 speed and 89 acceleration. So right off the bat, you're giving up a lot of weight and speed. Like, I don't even know what speed is calculated by. If you're going to tell me that somebody that 252 can run stride for stride with somebody when not only are they heavier, they're also by game design less fast, like what is making this up? What is his man coverage? 300? Let's see. Play recognition, 68. Well, we know that's not it. Man coverage, 48. 48. Where is that coming from? Like a corner would be proud of that coverage. So we're just going to run it again and take a look at what happens here. Tell me he didn't come right over and defend that pass. I don't want to hear about lob passes. I don't want to hear about but. I want to hear about what happened. What happened is that linebacker ran stride for stride with him. Well, let's take a look at this pass blocking. Here you go again. This is post-patch. All of a sudden, this stuff starts happening. You get like, it's almost like they're just like going to pass them, and they almost chip them. Like, what is number 66 doing? He's checking him like he's coming out of a route. You know, like he's playing corner. I'm going to pass this receiver off to the next zone. And the next zone happens to be number 61. And then he's going to pick him up. And the problem again becomes this double team block is just atrocious. Watch number 91. I get it's Cameron Wake. I really do. But it's two men. It's two men trying to block one. Why are they getting that much pressure? It should not be this way. At least the tight end does a good job over here of checking over and picking up the corner. But the problem will ultimately be this animation right here for the lineman is not dictated. We'll play till we see it. This animation right here, just keep in mind, is not dictated by the defensive line, okay? I know it might seem strange to think about this concept right now, but imagine Cameron Wake is the corner. This animation is dictated because it's recorded together. So when we get a corner down there, the corner is going to push these two the same exact way. So let's go back and take a look at this coverage. We know these linebackers, just for the record. I mean, they're just going to either do this, where they bump into each other, because he's trying to spy the quarterback. So here's how simplistic this programming is, right? He is spying the quarterback, but I'm not moving. So if you can think about the game's programming is telling this linebacker right here, go back to your spot where the quarterback is. But the other linebacker is actually standing there. So he literally just keeps bouncing into him because that other linebacker is in his way. All he's trying to do is mirror where I am on the field. So I am literally controlling, on the next play, I'll move over to the left just a little bit, and he will not do this bouncing anymore. Now, just to talk about the coverage here, again, you know, we just talked about the ratings, we just talked about the size, and a giant discrepancy. Even if Antonio Brown has to slow down for this catch animation, and again, that's all it is, an animation, that is a linebacker covering all the way down the field. This is 30 yards down the field. I'm not seeing a linebacker in the NFL covering any receiver like that. So, with the linebacker thing in mind, I'm going to move to the left a little bit. This time they actually inverted. But again, you'll see my change in the game manipulates the defense. They invert out. But now when he goes to drop back, if you recall from the play before, now I've moved over. So this little move over I've done has affected him, and now he can clear. So now when he drops over, he's not bouncing into him anymore like he used to be. He's following my movement. Take a look at this blocking again. And again, this is all post-patch. This stuff starts happening. Brown actually releases. I mean, I just don't even know. I don't even know how to quantify this. At least they're not doing the piggyback blocking anymore. But, I mean, how is this good for the defense to just be stuck like that? I think there's a thumbnail in here, though. I think there is. I think maybe that's it. I mean, I feel like we might get better throughout the night, but I feel like this is a good start. I mean, I just don't know how that's good for either side of the ball. You know, is it more effective blocking? Yes, but what is it doing to the defense? At least number 64 doesn't run in his circle anymore. This is almost a better double team block if they could do this a little bit more frequently, where he checks, pushes back. Okay, now you've got, you know, the ability to come over and help assist. But you can't have that leading to this. You literally have 3 players here trying to block 2. I guess the halfback decides at the end he's going to go run his route. Believe that's caught. Also want to take a little bit of a look at the safety here because we haven't talked about him yet. It's Kevin Byard. Pressure here. Here is a very weird shift. And this becomes a trend as well. So with this pass blocking logic, for some reason now, when these two have to get engaged in this pass block, it shifts this player out. So number 96 is now going to go from literally just having a blocker in front of him to shifting over. And then number 90 comes free. I mean, luckily you've got the halfback there to pick it up, but it's literally an unreadable pocket. Kenny Vaccaro comes over. Kenny Vaccaro ends up getting double team blocked. So you mean to tell me that you have Brown here. I almost called him Donald Penn. Brown is going to let go on a block of Cameron Wake so that he can help pick up. I don't know what he's doing. I guess he wasn't the one doing it. I'm trying to see if somebody let go of Cameron Wake to block Kenny Vaccaro, because ultimately it appears that's what happens. Yes, Jackson. Jackson releases the block of Cameron Wake so that he can help double team friggin' Kenny Vaccaro. Welcome to the bench. Take a look at this coverage here. This right here should be the end. As soon as he makes that cut, there should be no more stride for stride. I mean, I'm glad that he catches it, but I mean, that's way too close for a linebacker. Let's take a look at this safety. Keep in mind, this is the only route over here. It runs to the other side of the field. It's going to all night. Kevin Byard, zero recognition that Antonio Brown was in the slot. Even when the ball is thrown, makes no real attempt to get in a position, runs in a straight line. From the break, straight line over. I meant to go to do another play, I'm sorry. He got back there to make the tackle, and I believe that put him into a double team animation. We'll talk about that in a moment, but again, going to this line. And again, it's just, you know, when these double teams have to engage, I can't even get on the players because they're so clustered together. When the double teams have to engage, it's at the peril of releasing a player. So 96 does that little slide again. Again, I mean, thankfully you've got a player back here that's picking them up, but I guarantee you if I move this halfback over, He's not going to. This pass blocking here, again, 64 comes out, blocks, releases. Why is he releasing? Because he wants to come over here and double team. And there's no need for that. It is Jarrell Casey, but at the same time, good luck trying to decipher what's going on with this. Other than it being 3-on-2, there's just not much football. Let's put Ricard out to pass. And now that he's not in a block, I guarantee you there's going to be major pressure from all that releasing. Or there should be. Linebacker still covering stride for stride. Unbelievable. All right. So now, without him into block, it's still super simple. It's still just literally, I've got enough in here to block, but it's this double team logic. It has no business being in this game. I don't know why they put this in, because the logic is awful. I literally cannot even get on number 64. So he's going to drop back. It's Richie Incognito, by the way. He's going to try to double team. Then he's going to elect to come off the double team. Then he's going to go too far over to pick up Cameron Wake. These two are busy in a double team, and he's going to let Wake come back and get in position to defend the pass. Meanwhile, the tight end is literally out here running a circle around Cameron Wake. This is just, I don't really know why they did this. What happens with Kenny Vaccaro gets stuck. Kenny Vaccaro was getting picked up, and he's blitzing now. He runs back, and he gets stuck in between Jones and the lineman. And now he can't get out. That's why he wasn't able to bring pressure that time. Just take a look at our linebacker buddies here. At least we know he wasn't in a spy now, because at least one of them went out to cover the halfback, which is good. That's way too good a coverage. Gets pulled right into that animation. And I'm sure we're going to see the same thing out of Byard. Runs back, hits the break, runs straight line. That's basically identical to where he was before. I didn't pull him out to run the route.
What down? 180.
Do it the next time, though. Got a same scenario. No, it's not actually the same scenario. How does 77 get turned around? Drops back, goes to engage, lets go, and then literally gets turned around, and you have three of them out here focused on Kenny Vaccaro. And Kenny Vaccaro appears to be winning. Yes. So like we talked about before, it's not specific to the player. The animation just plays out. So Vaccaro here is literally in a position where he's got Brown, Jackson, and Miller trying to block him. But because the game isn't set up for these animations, it's literally going to let him come back and beat all three of them. Two linemen. Kenny Vaccaro just beat two linemen, in part because 77 decides to run away at the last minute. I don't know if the ball's been thrown yet, but I suppose it has. I don't know who looked at this and said, yes, this is better.
29.
I'm going to put Ricard out again. Now his X Factor is illuminated, so he should have a lot more success. Granted, he should have been having that success the whole time, considering who he was going against. Where did Vaccaro go? That's a really good... I wish they did this more often. I wish this happened all the time. Really good job of running out, chipping, and then getting in the open field. That's good. And the rest of it is troubling. like we've talked about in past videos, the double team, good Lord, the double team cannot be the least effective block. No matter who is the player. That's where that's where my pocket should feel the most confident. If I'm moving, I should be moving toward my double team. And unfortunately, it's just not. And a big problem with this is two things. Number one, they're not even trying to drop back and form a real pocket. They're just instigating block and logically break some of this stuff down. So at this point, you know, you basically got Urban going through Brown, Brown going through Wake. You know, what am I supposed to be looking at? What are the assignments here that I'm supposed to be discussing? What in the game assignments do they have? I mean, I would really just prefer if they got rid of this whole patch of pass blocking, set aside the new double team blocking. And you know what's the most frustrating about this? Is if anybody wants to go back and look at the way they put out the press release for this, they don't show this. They show like the quarterback is here, and then up in front of the quarterback, there's like a beautiful double team pass block. They don't show this as the pass blocking. They don't show this piggyback blocking. They don't show the shifting. They don't show the warping. But we've yet to have one play where you can actually go back and say, okay, everyone had a blocking assignment. Everybody stuck to that assignment. A player got double team blocked properly, and I could read the pocket. Just about every single play has looked like this. I left the halfback in. And you can see that if nothing else, at least now the halfback isn't, when I don't roll him out, or excuse me, when the halfback isn't running out, he's doing a good job at staying in. But, I mean, from a logic standpoint, how is he supposed to pick up pressure? How is he supposed to know? I mean, I almost feel like we need to go until we get a decent pocket. I mean, how? I mean, you've got Cameron Wake upside down. Is that Cameron Wake? No, it's Jones. This is just something I don't get. Come off the line, okay? That little stunt happens almost with Incognito. Now he's going to drop back. Hudson should be up there. They should be double team pass blocking him. That's it. Instead, he gets Hudson all by himself. Hudson kind of chucks him and releases him in. You now have three of them up here around Brown or Jackson, whoever that is. You can't really tell. Wake ends up running the other way, I guess, because the ball is thrown. I mean, I'm sorry. I just don't know who looked at this game and was like, yeah, no, this is the way that the blocking is much better off. Let's set Ricard to go to the other side, so he can't chip now. I would love if somebody could tweet a developer to come in here for the last 20 minutes of this and just try to make sense to me. Is this the best one? This may be the best one that we've had. And it's still a mess. Incognito switches over, double teams. Hudson basically keeps all by himself. These two run back to back and then switch off. And that's the cleanest one. And then the tight end sticks with Vaccaro. The linebacker follows out and goes over. They both follow him, actually. But it's still not a pocket. You still don't have a base with your linemen. No one has a real base here. And there's way too much movement. Meanwhile, down the field, you have the same coverage you've had all night where, I mean, that just pretty much sums up what all we need to say. You've got your linebacker who's 60 pounds heavier and 5 speeds slower, shifting into an animation so he can cover Antonio Brown. And you've got Byard with the worst pursuit ever known to man as he gyrates in the field here. I mean, tell me he's not gyrating in the field as the game tries to calculate his pursuit angle. That's just the game, trying to calculate where he needs to go pursue to. And then it throws him into a tackle animation at the end. Yeah, this is Antonio Brown versus Harold Landry one-on-one. I would love to see it in real NFL. I don't think it would ever happen. So, you know, we'll never really know. He just got the same pass deflection that Darius Slay got last night on AJ Green. I saw a lot of movement as I was in the pocket right here. This, visually, as you're trying to play, this image of your center or your guard just flashing is very concerning looking. And they still have just an absolute disaster of players. I mean, how hard is it to just slow the game down and have legitimate blocking schemes in place? I don't care if you have to get rid of stunts for a while. I don't care if you have to get rid of anything. You know, whatever you have to get rid of it. But to have this, where everybody is shifting and crossing each other and going across and getting stuck together, you know, this is like the 5th iteration we've had of this. I don't know, as a player, what to make of that. Is this good? Are they holding this block? Is this bad? Are they about to lose this block? Can I continue to hold on to the ball? Should I not? But you got rid of the referees. I mean, good thing we freed up some resources on them. He just went back there stride for stride on him again. They just got a double animation as if he's a corner. Oh, I was moving up in the pocket when that happened. Go back and take a look at that line. For the most part of this play, it literally is contested in, honestly, a straight line. From the time they get off the line, all their interactions, very little. We've seen this before. Richie Incognito just doing the full circle. Now, granted, me moving up in the pocket really screwed a lot of this up. I'm going to try not to do it this time. All right. I really want to know how Kenny Vaccaro came through. We're about to find out. Pretty sure Vaccaro came through clean. Somebody came clean over here. It's not Vaccaro. How does Cameron Wake come off the line clean? Just gets bounced around. No one is really blocking. They don't block anymore. They're not blocking. They're so worried about engaging and releasing to set up these double-team pass blocks that they don't even hold the player long enough to block them. And again, I mean, all I can see right now as a quarterback is somebody's coming through the line. I literally thought, based on the position of where the player was coming from and the fact that he didn't have anyone touching him, that it was the corner that was coming on the blitz. Because they actually kind of get lost in there. Like, if you look, this is why I would think it's Vaccaro. If you look at Vaccaro back there, number 24, and then you look at him and Wake come through, they almost clear the line the same exact way. And their body shapes are so similar because Madden doesn't really change body shapes. I didn't know who it was, but I sure wasn't expecting it to be a lineman. I expected that he would be at least contacted at the line of scrimmage, but instead we're playing like glorified patty cake with him to let him come back here. Incognito over here doing his half circle again. Not really doing much of anything. There's total release. That was definitely Vaccaro. Good job by the tight end, but then he gets stuck piggyback blocking. Brown gets pulled through. And then that lets him turn the corner. If the halfback had not stayed in, he wouldn't have even had an attempt. I mean, then again, what is he going to do? He can only pick up one. So I guess, if anything, he does a good job at picking up the one right there. But it doesn't really matter much because everything else is just a train wreck. That coverage is still just... It blows my mind that he's able to cover him as well as he did. And that they patched all this. Another great example, number 66 here. Try to sneak up on him with the cursor. There we go. Comes off, not blocking anybody, stands there, checks. These two get thrown together trying to double team. Wake gets turned around too early on an animation release. He just spins out. I don't know what happened to Vaccaro. Where did Vaccaro go? He gets stuck in the line here somewhere. Oh, he literally just slows down so he can run right into the lineman. So, I mean, that's every single one. We've yet to really have one good play. Go back, take a look at that one. This is what can never, ever, ever happen. When you have animation so dependent on everything, and everything is an animation, you cannot have a lineman here getting pushed back by Kenny Vaccaro. It just cannot be. I think my halfback had an issue because he never moves again. Of course, at this point, he's probably like looking at this cluster of players up in front and saying, "How do you expect me to play and block?" But this is what was definitely changed in this game, right here. This whole interaction, Jones comes off, does this little animation shift right here, this little wiggle, the two linemen move in front of him. That was the double team pass blocking. This right here, that was the interactions that have to go back to the way they were before. I didn't even look at what happened downfield on that, but I imagine it's just as bad. You know, your linebackers here, like we talked about, just run together. You've got Antonio Brown basically stride for stride with the linebacker, and then since they're close together, it puts them into an animation even though it's a linebacker. And when you have the animations that are recorded together, Kevin Byard makes no difference. He just comes in and gets just flailed through. All right, I'm looking at the chat. You want me to respot the ball to where? You know what? Let's do this. Let's see if I move it back, if it actually changes anything. Move it back to the 20. Let's see how long that linebacker can stick with Antonio Brown.
Down. Wide 85.
Just too good a coverage. Even when I throw it on his break, it lets him stay in there. I imagine I can lead it.
What down? Where's it?
He's got his X Factor illuminated now, but the line was awful. There again, Cognito checks him, puts him in single, and then just allows them to come through. I just don't know any blocking scheme that starts with this, of just push and then release. See what happens with Vaccaro again. Vaccaro is over here getting double team blocked, while I've got, both defensive linemen literally just running straight at me. We'll move the ball down and put it on the right hash then. It's not going to let me do that. That's as far as it's going to let me go over, but we'll do that.
Down. Where's it? Hot.
He's back there deflecting passes now.
Down. 180.
Again, the same scenario of 66, check, release, another lineman come in. And then it's almost like they're running those checks to determine whether or not they should go assist in a double team. So whereas before, Jackson would have just blocked 96 straight up. Now, with the double team pass patch, he checks him off the line, right like that, and then he has to make a mental decision of whether he's going to go over and help Brown. But the problem with that is, if there's no one back behind here to pick up the block, then the player just releases free, and you have these horrible scenarios play out where players just block the wrong person or they go to double team the wrong area. See what the linebackers do. You've got the one just standing still for the, if you want to call it, even though we know he's not in spy, and then the other one just stands. You got our linebacker comes back here, gets sucked into this animation, and now all of a sudden he can defend Antonio Brown as if he was a corner, even though he's not.
That's hot.
Did it again.
Monday, down. That's hot.
That may be the worst line we've had the whole night.
Down.
And it's all because they press and release. 66. Check and release. 61. Check and release. They're looking for double teams. It's just straight blocking. Just block the person. And this is the problem. When you have linemen that aren't engaging with defenders, they're just checking and releasing because they're overly concerned about a double team pass block animation. You get defenders that have no one to stop them. If my halfback is not there to cut block, I've got both linemen running straight toward the quarterback, whether I'm throwing the ball or not. And I've got Richie Incognito face the other way because he's too worried about, chipping these players out. And it looks awful. Even at speed, it looks so jumpy in animations. Out of bounds, I believe.
Down. 180.
Kenny Vaccaro comes in strong on that one. Major shift here, too. 61. Tries to pick up off that little check. Pancakes number 96. Then gets stuck in a double team with Cameron Wake. Then 96 gets up and really has nothing else to do. Vaccaro's trying to block the pass even though the quarterback's over here. Because all the game knows is if the ball is thrown and you're at the line of scrimmage, jump. See how long it'll let me stay in the pocket.
What down?
Yep. I mean, that logic is just the problem. I mean, when it works good, when it works fine. So when these two decide they're going to double team Casey, then it's great. It absolutely works exactly as intended. They don't piggyback each other as much, and they both get a double team block. The problem is that's happened very, very few times. Instead, you get this. You get a player that drops back, that stands there, that tries to work in between two. You get number 61 chipping lineman, and this basically allows the corner here. We'll just go back. It's hard to even tell who they are. I don't know if it's Wake or the corner. Somebody comes back and brings pressure. It's Wake. It allows him to basically just come through only being touched by the tight end because everyone else is so caught up in how do we double team block and chip and release players. So one of the best pass rushers here literally has his back to my line, and they essentially have the tight end and the halfback become responsible for blocking the defensive tackle in the end. And then he gets up and he points at my coach, I guess. Like, your pass blocking logic is terrible, John Gruden. That's what he's doing right there. He's pointing right at him. He's saying, you better tell your boys they got to figure out another way to block. And this was designed by someone that blocked in the NFL. All right, we're going to look at this one, and that'll be it. We didn't get one decent play. .64. Richie Incognito has had a rough night. Comes off, blocks, releases, looks for a double team, shakes while he does it, spins, runs around. I just don't see how this needed to be implemented. Vaccaro's over there beating my lineman. And we'll just close out by looking at the linebackers that stand still. Kevin Byard back here, stuck in his strafe mode. Even though there's no one else for him to be concerned with, he'll just let Antonio Brown clear out. But it's okay, because he's not even going to recognize where he is on the field long enough to get his feet down. That's Madden. So give you guys a couple minutes here for questions. Incognito is going to get bullied after all that. Anybody that watched this, go back and watch the All-Pro Football video. Unbelievably different in how it projects. I would say hello to Colby Covington if I saw him inside an Arby's. I'm doing good, Michael Martin. I think people are in love, Patrick, I think people are in love with Madden. I think they take pride in that Madden is football to them and they don't want to be proved that they're wrong. I don't believe Madden predetermines double team blocks based on what we've seen, Yictoro. I believe that what they're doing is using a strange check system to determine it, and it doesn't work. Hello, Habib. Thank you for finally commenting. I mean, this really isn't playing the game, Cut Dog Slim. It's just going through practice mode. But there's a fundamental difference between what you see here and what you see on All-Pro Football. You guys are still super high up on this XFL 2K. I cannot take a position at Madden or EA. It's an entry-level job. I can't take a pay cut, and I'm not moving. Let me just explain to you guys real quick. I'll go back and we'll talk to end this about why and how things like this can happen. So the problem with EA is they have game programmers, obviously, that program the game, and they have game designers that are people like yourself and me that basically tell the programmer what needs to happen. So Clint Oldenburg can say, what you need to do is have the linemen come out of their stance, target someone to block, engage with them momentarily, and then if a assist needs to happen on the line, have them go over and help secure the block for the second defender. When he says that, you have to have a programmer that can convey it into code. So Clint isn't a gameplay programmer, he's a gameplay designer. He's designing what we're seeing. The programmer is the one that has to go in and makes it into this, which is where you get, okay, now number 61 is trying to figure out whether he needs to engage, but that shifts number 90's position on the field, so now he gyrates. So now number 61 determines he does need the double team block, but he doesn't know where. So now he's going to release off number 96 and go over to number 90. And then now he's going to go back to number 96, to number 90, but number 90 isn't supposed to be there, so he's going to get thrown off of him and do this weird stanky leg. The ball is still being held, by the way, for someone who would say, oh, he did the stanky leg because he was trying to turn up because you threw the ball. No, he didn't. There's no animation to play out. So when you have even the most brilliant football mind, when you have somebody that knows every single thing of what they're doing, if you don't have a programmer that's capable of converting that into code, you get this. I'm sure what Clint Oldenburg told them to do was absolutely flawless in how he described it and programmed it. But this was not the intended result. The intended result was, in my opinion, put into code that's probably 15 years old, that is not used to these level of animations, that is not used to this level of complexity in terms of how many blocking scenarios they have, and what you're left with is just a mess. This is what you're left with. Two players that are not engaging Jones while he attempts to, I don't know, be a flamingo in the middle of the field while the quarterback throws the ball. And the fact that they chose to do this in a dev, not in a dev cycle, but in a game patch is astonishing to me. The number of things that could have been broken are incredible. And I will tell you, as soon as you're done watching this video, I want you to go back and I want you to look. I wish I could bring it up. I really do. I wish I could show you. When they show the pass blocking on the actual patch update. They show Aaron Rodgers standing in the pocket with a double team pass block in front of him. They do not show this. Yet that is what we're getting. There's 3 linemen there trying to block 2 players, and they can't do it. And that's it. You can't hire other programmers, though, Big Texas, because EA, whether we like it or not, is an entry-level company. So they are hiring people just out of college. They're hiring people that this may be their first job. They're trying to build their resume, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Everyone has to start somewhere, but EA is an entry-level company. So imagine you've never worked on any game before. You're just trying to build your resume and move on in 2 to 3 years. You've got an NFL lineman telling you how to program blocking code into a game that's code maybe as old as you are. You're trying to put in what he's telling you, but you maybe don't understand football. And you leave yourself with this. And then on the other side of it, Clint's the one that's taking all the community heat unjustifiably because we're all going to him and saying, your game's terrible. Your game needs this. How do you know it's an entry-level company? Go look at their pay scale. Go look at their experience needed when you apply there. So, it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. And, it's left us with a very poor football product. And that's ultimately the problem. We as the community can go back to Clint with all the feedback we want. But unless Clint has a programmer that can receive, accept it, and change the code, nothing is going to happen. And, it leaves us with this. Which is why when you look at independent games and you say, well, they don't look as good, at least the person that's designing the code is the one that's actually the gameplay designer and the one coding it. So when they go back and they have an issue, they can write their own code back. They don't have a Clint Oldenburg. They don't have an equipment guru. They don't have a Moonlight Swami telling someone, hey, this needs to be fixed. They have to go in and fix their own code. And when they fix their own code, you can get an easier resolved product, but it's going to be at a slower pace because they don't have 60 people coding a game. So that's basically it. It's a very tough system to be involved in. You've got pressure being put on the wrong people in both cases. You've got designers putting pressure on programmers. You've got the community putting pressure on designers. And the miscommunication between the two has left us in a very bad state of gaming. I would agree. They need to start, and anybody that knows a lot about Madden 06 Next Gen, the standpoint was that they were going to strip everything away. Anyone that remembers Donovan McNabb, 06 Next Gen was basically just, here is a season mode, and here is gameplay. You get your exhibitions. I was always left with the impression the reason they did that was because they wanted that to be the start. Strip everything else out, and then start over fresh and not have any issues with code going forward, clear everything as best they could. I don't know that it ever took place. So, for what it's worth, we've just continued this legacy of misfit toys to a degree. But as far as the other games, I know you guys have probably talked about them throughout the chat here. As I said yesterday, they are simply Madden motivators. That's all. They can motivate Madden to get better. They're not going to take Madden away. They're not going to impact Madden sales. They're going to motivate Madden. Someone is going to look at Access Football and say, how in the world does this game have all this franchise options that I want in Madden, and Madden doesn't have it? And they're going to go back to Moonlight Swami or the equipment guru, whoever it is, and they're going to put enough pressure on them where someone at EA is going to say, wait a second, why does this game do all these things in their franchise mode that we want, and you tell us we can't do? And then they're going to end up getting rid of someone at EA that we probably want to stay there because they're going to say you didn't do enough in franchise. And this one guy in his house, literally this one guy in his house, did a better job creating a franchise mode than you did. There's going to be problems. You know, they're going to look at a game like Maximum Football and say, why does this game have a logo creator? We've asked for a logo creator in Madden for years. It's going to get back to the wrong person, and that's all there is to it. They are Madden motivators. They're not taking Madden down. If you sit there and you think, if your hope for Madden's downfall is on one of those two games, there is to it. A lot of people care about logo creators, Holt, because it comes back to the same premise of we're asking the same thing from all these games, and the smallest games tend to be getting the most done. Madden says it's a sim in every game copy sold. Go to your settings and explain to me why it has a simulation, competitive, and arcade setting. So you can sit there and say, oh, it's not sim, it's not sim. It has a simulation setting. You're literally just typing to type. All right, guys, I really mean it this time. I appreciate every single one of you coming out. I don't know that I'm going to do this again until next week, but I've got some other great videos for you, so I hope you guys enjoy them. And I will be back very shortly with more commentary.